Well, good evening, folks. We're glad to see you here at Society Hall. We know a lot of things are going on this weekend. We got First Friday, we got the Sunshine Festival, or now they call it something else, Rio Fest or something, I'm not sure. But anyway, we're always glad to see you. We're always welcome you here. There's got a great show lined up tonight for sure. I was talking with Carin earlier, and she always plays her heart out. So I'm really looking forward to this, as I know y'all are too. Coming up, we've got a few things happening. On June 14th, we've got Hogan and Moss and the Old Weird America four-piece. On June 20th, Lisa Morales is going to be here. She was here last summer, and she had her son with her, and he's a student at UT in Austin, and that guy's going to be a rising star. His guitar playing is just incredible. So that's one that if you don't want to miss one, that would be the one. And then there's also June 25th, Jackson Elmer. On June 28th, a couple of local folks, Old Scratch with Antonio Lopez. On July 11th, we got the Outlaw Firm, and Don Richmond's going to be sitting in with them. On July 18th, Walt Wilkins. July 27th, we got Emily Scott Robinson, Caitlin Cannon, and Gabrielle Louise, and then the list just goes on and on and on, but I'm not going to bore you. Just y'all know where to look online and keep your eyes out on the marquees for shows coming up. But in the meantime, we've got Carin here this evening. She's going to play 2 sets of 45 minutes with a short intermission where you can get up and get some concessions or take a look at the merch table. But with no further ado, please welcome Carin.
Well, what a great lineup of shows for the summer. I may have to start coming over here more often just to be entertained. Well, my name is Carin Mari, and I live over in Buena Vista, so I'm not too far at all. And just for my own curiosity, how many of you are seeing me for the very first time? Most of you, so I did scare everybody off from my last show. Lock the doors now, please. Well, I have been to Society Hall several times now over the years, and it has become one of my very favorite places to play in the state. Their staff is fantastic, and the sound is incredible, and the folks that run this building are just the nicest. So if you would, just give them a quick round of applause for keeping this place going and putting these shows on. Sound. Thank you so much. For those of you that are new to my music, I'll give you a little brief history here, but I grew up in a wonderful little family, and my parents were very much into my brothers and I exploring our creative sides, and so I was fortunate and I fell in love with music very early in life and knew that I wanted to be a musician and a singer of some sorts, and so I started playing cowboy music. And then my brothers kind of followed suit and were musicians as well, and we started a band, and we started getting to tour the country a little bit. And just a few short years into that, I decided that it was time to make a career change already. And I didn't just want to be a singer and a musician, but I wanted to be a songwriter. And at the ripe old age of 12, I guess that was a big decision in my mind. But turns out you need to live a little bit before you start writing songs, because you just haven't experienced much at 12 years old. But I knew I wanted to be a songwriter because I was surrounded by, I think, the masters of songwriting. In my opinion, when I was young, folks like Michael Martin Murphey and Ian Tyson, some great Susie Boggess, great writers, storytellers. And I got to meet Ian Tyson a few times before he passed away, and this was always one of my very favorite songs that he wrote. There's a young man that I know whose age is 21. He comes from down in southern Colorado, just out of the service. He's looking for his fun someday soon. I'm going with him someday soon. And my parents cannot stand him 'cause he rides the rodeo. My father says that he believed me crying, but I would follow him right down the roughest road I know. Someday soon, I'm going with him someday soon. And when he comes to call, my boy ain't got a good word to say. I guess it's 'cause he was just as wild in his younger days. But like an old blue northern, blow my love to me. He's driving in tonight from California. He loves his dang old rodeo as much as he loves me. Someday soon, I'm going with him someday soon. And when he comes to call, my boy ain't got a good word to say. I guess it's 'cause he was just as wild in his younger days. But like an old blue northern, blow my love to me. He's driving in tonight from California. He loves his dang old rodeo as much as he loves me. Someday soon, I'm going with him someday soon. Oh, someday soon, I'm going with him someday soon. I guess you knew that one. Perfect. Well, I have really fallen in love with songwriting. At least for the past 15 years of my career, it's been my main focus was to write songs that people would want to hear over and over again, and I'm not sure if I've hit that point yet, but I keep trying. I know my dogs still like the song, so that's what really matters. As long as they stay in the room, we're doing okay. But back in 2020, I did an awful lot of songwriting because there really wasn't much else to do, I'm sure you recall. And I came up with a series of songs that I like to call the Quarantunes. And many of them, I realized after I wrote them that I needed a little break and I should walk around and get some fresh air because I got a little moody with some of them. And this one started off as a really sentimental thank you type song because I spent 8.5 years touring with my brothers, and when we had our family band, none of us were actually old enough to drive, and so my parents would load us up on the weekends and away we'd go. And I started thinking about that and the life lessons that we learned on the road. And one of the main ones that has always stuck with me was the importance of kindness. And that's something my mother made sure that my brothers and I understood. And that was just to be nice to everybody. It didn't matter what kind of mood you were in or what kind of mood they were in. As long as you showed them some kindness, you were doing the right thing. And I thought, well, that would be a great song. And then I thought more and more about it. And I realized as many years as I've spent on the road and the people I've met, there are a lot of people that had parents that did not teach them that. And that's the new direction of this song. What you gonna do with yourself when there's nobody else to come and hold your hand when you cry? What you gonna do when you know you're out here on your own? Guess you'll be sleeping in your big bed of lies. No, look at you, boy, look at you. Turns out you can lose, and now you're out of people you can use. You're in a tight spot now, and there's no getting out, 'cause you built yourself a bridge and then you burned it down. What you gonna do in this town when word gets around that you're not worth the stones that you throw? What you gonna do when the boot comes down and kicks you on the ground? Well, you're not used to the bottom, but you live there now. And oh, look at you, boy, look at you. Turns out you can lose, and now you're out of people you can use. You're in a tight spot now, and there's no getting out, 'cause you built yourself a bridge and then you burned it down. Well, don't you know that people talk and we can see just what you're not? Do you care you set a fire on every path you have crossed? Look at you, boy, look at you. Turns out you can lose, and now you're out of people you can use. You're in a tight spot now, and there's no getting out, 'cause you built yourself a bridge and then you burned it down. Whoa, you built yourself a bridge and then you burned it down. My favorite thing about that song is you can look at the audience and see they're thinking about that one person. Well, this is a brand new song, and I always think it's funny as a songwriter to say that to an audience that's never heard your music before because everything's brand new. But it's brand new to me too. And so I'm about to record a new album, and the best way to pick songs is to play them for people like yourselves in an intimate setting, because I find that folks are a little more honest about things they like and they don't like. And so if you really like something, please be sure to tell me, and if you don't like it, then you can tell me, but privately. But I'm really excited about this song. I was sitting on my front porch, and I've been trying to motivate myself to write music because that's what I want to do. And sometimes you get in these little songwriting ruts where there's just no inspiration and you're not really sure what to write about, so you just don't, because everything you come up with feels like a really lousy idea. But I was determined that I was going to write some songs that afternoon. And so I had to move from my writing desk because it wasn't working. And I went out to my porch and I sat down and came up with this little guitar lick. And I thought, well, there's half the battle. You got to get the hook. And so I wrote the lick, and it took me another 15 minutes to find my inspiration. And my old border collie came out from behind the bench, and he went out to the front of the patio, and he just kind of laid down, and he looked over his pride land. And then he looked back at me with the most loving little smile in his eyes. And I thought, man, that good old dog laying in the yard, he's got a hold of my heart. And at that moment, I knew exactly what I was going to write about. And it was things that I wish never got old, because he's 11 now. And he's still got a lot of heart and a lot of spirit, and he goes everywhere with me that he can. And I started thinking about other things in life that you wish never got old, and it's the people that you love. And then I thought about love itself and how I know sometimes people fall out of love, but for me, I hope it never gets old, and it's something that you carry with you. And next thing I knew, the song was written, and I went and had another cup of coffee. Well, that good old dog laying in the yard's got a real good hold on me. He's guilty of stealing my heart away so easily. I hope it never gets old and we look back, take some time, reminisce and laugh. Never lose sight of what could be. You don't get tired loving on me. Run around the world and don't waste time. Most good things don't come round twice. Deep in my bones, it's my hope. It never gets old. Well, that strong man looking back at me, as proud as a dad can be. He's there to guide, teach wrong from right. He raised me up to dream. I hope it never gets old and we look back, take some time, reminisce and laugh. Never lose sight of what could be. He don't get tired loving on me. Run around the world and don't waste time. Most good things don't come round twice. Deep in my bones, it's my hope. It never gets old. Never gets old. That handsome man, his eyes run deep, steady as the beats. He's sweet and kind, his love is mine. He wants to marry me. I hope it never gets old and we look back, take some time, reminisce and laugh. Never lose sight of what could be. He don't get tired loving on me. Run around the world and don't waste time. Most good things don't come Hope it never gets old. Hope it never gets old. Thank you. I do like it when nobody boos. I do have feelings. Well, this next song is probably the most country song that I've ever written. And it came about because I finally decided it was time to buy a new vehicle to tour with. We started out in a family conversion van, and then when it became just me going down the road, I bought a 2000 Dodge Durango. And that was my road warrior for many years, but she finally rolled over 230-some thousand miles and had a really horrible shake anytime you would use the brakes. And it honestly was getting too expensive to buy a fresh roll of duct tape every town. But I learned that duct tape will fix everything for just a little while. And so I realized it was time to sell the Dodge, but I was also getting a little bit emotional about the idea, because I've spent most of my life in Dodge vehicles. I learned to drive in my dad's first-gen Dodge pickup. And so you could say that we're Dodge people. And I know it's Ram now, and it is different, but... And I know the Ford guys and the Chevy guys are all out there grumbling, but Dodge has got a special place in my heart. And as I realized that I needed this new vehicle and I would have to sell the Durango, I realized it would not be done until I wrote this song. And I finished it in the morning, and later that afternoon I went out and bought my perfect vehicle. As I said, I really wanted another Dodge of some sorts. I didn't care what it was, but I found the perfect vehicle for me, and it ended up being a 2018 Chevy Silverado. But the hope was that someday Dodge or Ram will hear this song, and then they'll give me a truck, and I can sell the Chevy. And if they don't want to buy, then we can always change the words around to, who will buy it. Well, I grew up in that old truck, chasing my dreams and making love. Took me high as I could go. The secrets were made, the blacktop hole. When that old Dodge was new to me, took me to places I'd never seen. 100,000 miles of memories. When that old Dodge was new to me, I fell in love for the first time when I first crossed that county line. Chased the white lines coast to coast and never failed to bring me home. When that old Dodge was new to me, took me to places I'd never seen. 200,000 miles of memories. When that old Dodge was new to me. She's not too much to look at now, parked behind this old house, and doesn't shine like I once knew, but she drives just fine and she still runs true. When that old Dodge was new to me, took me to places I'd never seen. 300,000 miles of memories. When that old Dodge was new to me. Some would say a piece of steel could never steal your heart, but for me it set me Thank you so much. Well, as a songwriter, everything is kind of an inspiration. And some things inspire you just a little bit more. And the older I get, the more I'm looking back on my childhood and my life, and I know I'm not that old, but it's really great songwriting material if you pretend like you are. And so I was sitting at my desk, again, trying to work the creative process and write some new music. And sometimes it's easy to get a little bit down about life and my career and things like that because I've been doing this a very long time and I love it. And sometimes I feel like, well, maybe I should be farther along. And then I remember all the great things that I've gotten to do and the great things that are ahead of me still. And I remember that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. And not everything is laid out on a roadmap. You don't always have the navigation to get where you want to go. But the point is you have to get out there and explore. And so I thought about that. And one thing growing up where we did is that there's limited cell service in most areas. And so my dad made sure that my brothers and I knew how to use a map and read a compass. Because today, I think a lot of people put a lot of faith that their phone battery will never die. And that is not true. I've learned that the hard way. And if you've got no other way to navigate, it can be difficult to get out of a place you're not so familiar with. And so I took all these feelings and thoughts and put them into a song, and it's called Compass. Because even though you know the path you're supposed to go on, you don't always end up where you think you're going to go. But as long as you keep going where your inner compass is telling you, you seem to end up in the right place. Well, you may not need a compass to get back. It's just a new way around your chosen path. Tug along, spread your wings, let the feather take flight. Find your way and fly. When your heart's on the map, it doesn't mean it's where you're at. When your soul belongs to the road, when your mind's running free, the world lets you be. A direction doesn't mean that's where you'll go. Well, you may not need a compass to get past just a new way around your chosen path. Tug along, spread your wings, let the feather take flight. Find your way and fly. Come on, find your way and fly. Ooh, when the dirt meets the road, it brings you feelings of home. Where the mountains kiss the sky, where the wild rippling water brings comfort like your father. The miles they bring you peace of mind. And you may not need a compass to get back. It's just a new way around your chosen path. Tug along, spread your wings, let the feather take flight. Find your way and fly. Come on, find your way and fly. Ooh, 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 ooh. Thank you so much. I will say I get asked an awful lot how I write songs, because I know there's a lot of writers out there, and sometimes you just write words and sometimes you just write the music, and so I get asked a lot about my process, and I wish I had one because I'd probably be a better songwriter. But sometimes inspiration just hits you and the songs want to write themselves. But this one is a little bit different because it took me over 15 years to write it. And the inspiration came from a little trail ride I took with my dad. And if you're driving from Buena Vista to Leadville, Colorado, and you look across the Arkansas about halfway between, there's a white tombstone in the middle of or off to the side of the Stagecoach Road. And this was so intriguing when we finally spotted it that we had to take a little ride, kind of like in the Old West on the Stagecoach Road, to investigate. And on our arrival, we saw this tombstone, and the name read Jane Kirkham. And I was so intrigued as to why this woman was buried alone on this road. And so I did a little research and found a story. And back in the day, it's said that the stagecoach was getting robbed, but only when the silver and gold and all the goods were on board. It was never stopped, and it was just transporting people. And it happened time and time again, to the point that the sheriff was getting extremely frustrated because his townspeople were getting frustrated, and it was robbery. And so he finally decided it had to be somewhat of an inside job, because they only stopped it when they knew something was valuable. And so, like clockwork, he did the same routine and told the same people, but only this time they didn't put the goods on the stage, and he got on the stage. So down the road they went, and wouldn't you know, here comes the robber out of the one area that it's possible to stop a stage. Came down and stopped the stage, guns went off, and the sheriff jumped out of the stagecoach and he shot the robber on the spot. Mind you, the sheriff is thinking to himself, all of my problems are over, I can go back and tell the people that I'm a hero. And he walked over and he took the hood off of the robber, and wouldn't you know that it was his wife. So the story goes is he was so embarrassed at what she'd done that he buried her there on the Stagecoach Road. So the story goes. Out here in the great and wide open, no one knows to care. Out here the wind it left me lonely to draw my last breath of air. Don't cry for me, 'cause I won't hear, don't reach for me, I'm nowhere near robbing silver lines away. And when I got and laid to rest. Out here I'm known as a little Jane, the wife of the law. Out here nobody knows my secrets, and that I paid the cost. Out here my ghost is known, a legend, a name carved in stone. Out here the money drills are haunted with the good souls I stole. Don't cry for me, 'cause I won't hear, don't reach for me, I'm nowhere near robbing silver lines away. And when I got and laid to rest. Out here I saw my last stage hiding in the rock. Out here I went to do the job and found myself shot. Out here the truth will never surface for the shame I've caused. 'Cause out here the one who fired loved me, and both our Out here, you see me cross the river, my final resting place. Out here, it's the elk and sagebrush visiting my grave. Out here, love didn't come to see me to say one last goodbye. Out here, it's a story of the trail, and on the trail it died. So don't cry for me, 'cause I won't hear, don't reach for me. I'm nowhere near Robin Silver lines away out west. I got God and laid to rest. Out here in the great wide open, no one knows to care. Out here, the wind it left me lonely to draw my last breath of air. Well, perfect. We've got time for a couple more songs, and then we'll take a quick break. But please don't leave. Please. I did bring my parents with me tonight, so they can't leave because we drove together. But in case you were wondering, those are the folks responsible for this. But it's so nice when my gigs are close enough that they can come along with me, because a lot of times I play out of state and it's just not feasible. And to be honest, I don't trust just anybody with their grand dog, as they like to call him. So they watch him when I'm on the road. And my brother's watching him now, so he better be in one piece when I get home. This song kind of had a long journey to be written. I had a very unique and wonderful opportunity several summers ago now, but I got to open for Clint Black in Cody, Wyoming. And you know who Clint Black is? Okay, great. Just checking. When I got the phone call, I was so excited I immediately called my mom and told her, and she goes, "Who?" And it pushes you back down a notch, you know? It keeps you humble. But I was really excited. It was a fundraiser for the St. Jude Children's Hospital, and so they did a free concert by donation was the entry, so whatever people could give, which I thought was a pretty neat way to do a fundraiser. And I think we raised $80,000. I'd like to think that I had a part of that, but I know it was Mr. Black. But it was my first big opportunity like that to play in front of 15,000 people. And I was so excited, and I was even more excited when Clint's manager came up after my set and said, "If you ever want to talk about a career, you give me a call next time you're in Nashville." And so I drove home from Cody and flew to Texas and did a gig and flew back home and booked a trip to Nashville and gave him a call. I wasn't going to mess around with that opportunity. But it turns out they want you to be famous before they help you get famous. And so he gave me a long list of things to work on. And the one thing that he really wanted me to do was co-write. Now, mind you, if you've ever been to Buena Vista, you know we have 3 stoplights now. But growing up there, we had 1 stoplight. And I was the singer-songwriter. There was nobody to write music with. And so co-writing was a totally foreign concept to me. But I thought, well, I could give it a try, and I could get on some writers' rounds, and I can do what you're asking of me, because I'm also very stubborn, and I don't take no very well. And so I was at this venue called The Local, and I had gotten on a round with some hit songwriters from the 90s. And I was a little bit down about the situation, but I thought if I could finally impress these guys, maybe my trip would be, you know, paying for itself. And sure enough, I got done, and all 3 of them came up and said, "We would absolutely love to write some songs with you." So I was obviously very excited, and we scheduled all the writes for the next day because I was needing to get back to the mountains. And wouldn't you know that night when I got into my car to go back to my friend's apartment, the warnings for that massive tornado that came through Nashville came over the radio. And we left downtown within 10 minutes of it touching down. And I was very thankful to be out of there, and also very thankful to live in the mountains where we don't have tornadoes. But the next morning, it was just a little bit eerie because it was just so quiet and so calm. And I assumed that everybody would cancel our rights because it was a pretty traumatic experience for everyone, and everybody needed to be with their families. And so I sat on my friend's porch and I started writing this song, and as soon as I finished it, I got the phone call for the last cancellation, and then I got in my truck and I drove back home as quickly as possible. I don't think I've been back to Nashville since. When I'm in Tennessee, tell me you're missing me. It's hard to see. This is where I'm supposed to be. When the storm blows through, you're not here. Makes me wanna leave when I'm in Tennessee. I guess the skies are just as blue, the grass is green, the road is true, but together we make mountains move. You said you wait, and so will I, but patience is running dry. I could be home by the morning light. When I'm in Tennessee, tell me you're missing me. It's hard to see. This is where I'm supposed to be. When the storm blows through, you're not here. Makes me wanna leave when I'm in Tennessee. You said that I should live my dream, but I'm not sure it's what you mean when the dreaming takes me away. I guess the days will go on by, might work out in a little time. Why does it feel wrong when I know it's right? When I'm in Tennessee, tell me you're missing me. It's hard to see. This is where I'm supposed to be. When the storm blows through, you're not here. Makes me wanna leave when I'm in Tennessee. It's hard to love in a different state. It's more than just miles away. When I'm in Tennessee, tell me you're missing me. It's hard to see. This is where I'm supposed to be. When the storm blows through, you're not here. Makes me wanna leave when I'm in Tennessee. When I'm in Tennessee. Well, in this first set, with a song that I wrote about my very first 14er experience, and I know most of you are from here, so I don't have to explain what that is. But when we get down in places like Texas, you have to explain that it's one of the big 14,000-foot peaks. And that's not to insult anybody, that's just the way the world works sometimes. But I was about 17 years old before I climbed my first 14er, and I honestly thought it would be fairly easy because I grew up here and I love the outdoors and I hiked all the time, but 14ers are a whole nother ballgame. And halfway up the mountain, I realized that there is limited oxygen. And at about 13,000 feet, I realized I couldn't feel my legs anymore. And at 14,000 feet, I was questioning every decision I had made that day. But then I realized what an incredible journey it was to get there. And that's kind of how life works sometimes. It's not always easy to get where you want to go, but if you keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep on climbing, there's nothing you can't do. I'm gonna climb the natural fountains, feel like I can fly. I wanna see the world from a bird's eye, so I've got mountains to climb. Well, I know I'll try my best, and I know not to second guess, and to succeed I must follow my dreams I've had since the beginning. I'm gonna climb the natural fountains, feel like I can fly. I wanna see the world from a bird's eye, so I've got mountains to climb. Well, sometimes I just get lonely, and sometimes I think I'm the only one who can't seem to find the meaning that makes my heart start beating. I'm gonna climb the natural fountains, feel like I can fly. I wanna see the world from a bird's eye, so I've got mountains to climb. One step at a time. Sometimes the path ain't always right, but I'll be alright. I've got this vision in my mind. I'm gonna climb the natural fountains, feel like I can fly. I wanna see the world from a bird's eye, so I've got mountains to climb. Yes, I've got mountains to climb. Thank you so much. We'll be back at about 8:30, 8:35. So get up, get a drink, get a snack, come back and see me at the merch table. Sometimes it's too small. Says anybody, there we go. Missing sunglasses. My show is not important. Sunglasses look expensive. All right, well, welcome back for part 2. Nobody left. Thank you. Well, I've got some exciting news for you, which I guess, to me, it's exciting. I have not entered into any kind of competitions or contests in years. I used to do them quite often, but I just it was too stressful for me. But I decided this year is my year for new things and changes and success. And so I entered into the Troubadour Songwriting Contest at the Telluride Bluegrass Festival, and I am one of the top 10 finalists out of 300 submissions. Thank you. I was very relieved to get that email, and then the panic has set in about, and now I actually have to go do it. But it's funny because all the songs that I've entered into these contests are ones that I swore I'd never play in public because they're just, for some reason, I write things and sometimes I know that I'm going to love it and I'll play it all the time, and other songs I'm like, what in the world was going through your mind when you wrote this? And so I wrote this song, and it came about because I spend a lot of time on a tour bus in December, and when you basically live on a bus for a month with 10 other people, you start to crave your alone time because you're stacked in the bunks 3 deep. And one of the ladies on the bus finally came to me one afternoon. I must have just been extra needing my me time, and she came over and she was trying to start a conversation, and I just hadn't had my coffee yet. And she finally goes, well, you're just kind of a lone wolf, aren't you? And at the time I thought, well, I don't know if she's trying to be nice or if I'm supposed to change my attitude or... So I thought about that, and I kind of festered on that for quite a while, and then got home, thought about it a little bit more, and realized that how much simpler would life be if we all just lived our best wild lives. And so I started looking from the perspective of animals and how they just don't care. And I swore when I finished this that I would never play this in public because it was ridiculous, and this is the song that got me into the Telluride Songwriting Contest. I'm my own worst critic. I've been a wild bird flying around, nothing but the wind can bring me down. Waking up, chasing my dreams, never ever dreaming I would be so free. Look out, world, you won't hold me back. I'm living in the mountains like an old wildcat. Take my time and enjoy the climb, living my best wild life, living my best wild life. I've been rambling most of my days like an old lone wolf, no place to stay. Looking up, I've come so far, reading the map written in the stars. Look out, world, you won't hold me back. I'm living in the mountains like an old wildcat. Take my time and enjoy the climb, living my best wild life, living my best wild life. I've been patient, hidden away like a big black bear sleeping in his cave, waiting for the sun to rise, happy but a little on the dangerous side. Look out, world, you won't hold me back. I'm living in the mountains like an old wildcat. Take my time and enjoy the climb, living my best wild life, beers coming from his wings. Fly a little higher, let freedom breathe. Look out, world, you won't hold me back. I've been living in the mountains like an old wildcat. Take my time and enjoy the climb. Living my best wild life. 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 You're all thinking that's the one that won? Makes me happy. Well, I spent, as I mentioned earlier, many years on the road with my family, which was a lot of fun. And now I tour on my own and with a band, but for the most part it's me putting on the miles, and I like to write songs when I drive because there's a lot of time to think, many hours to get through. And it's how I problem solve as well, because usually I've got 10 or 12 hours to work on things, especially if they're not going my way, and if I don't have them resolved by the time I get there, I've got the return trip, and things usually pan out. But I realize that it's probably terrifying having children and watching them go off into the world alone. And my parents do it on a weekly basis, where I just say I'm going to California, and they say good luck and let us know when you get there. And so years ago, I wanted to write a song for them for that very thing, because I know they're not the only ones with kids. And someday I'm sure I'll have kids. It's hard enough watching my dogs and leaving them behind, but I can't imagine a little person. But I wrote this for them as a thank you, because I would not be able to do what I do without their help. Walk a mile in her holy shoes, you might see she's living life more than you. She knows the road and all the blue in the sky as she's spent her life chasing white lines. She's a rambling daughter of the road. She won't ever stop, 'cause she loves to go. She's a shooting star on the far horizon, getting lost for finding a road less traveled is hard to see, like a precious treasure that's buried. She will find all the gold she can hold, living life with a bold soul. She's a rambling daughter of the road. She won't ever stop, 'cause she loves to go. She's a shooting star on the far horizon, getting lost to find it. She don't know what's down the open road, but there's no way of knowing without a little going. She don't believe in a sight unseen, as a picture in mind is pure beauty. Though time's running out, it won't get her down, for she's bound to take the long way round. She's a rambling daughter of the road. She won't ever stop, 'cause she loves to go. She's a shooting star on the far horizon, getting lost for finding. She's a shooting star on the far horizon, Well, I guess it's that time of the night that I should play a sad song. It's kind of like the unwritten country music law that you have to have one really heartbroken song in your set. It's just the way that it works. And I try not to write too many of these anymore because it became a problem for me. And for me, when you write something, it means a lot. And so you play it and you tell the stories. And it got to a point, though, that I was playing these sad, heartbroken songs that people would come up after my sets and say things like, you know, my son is very attractive and my nephew or my brother's cousin. And it started getting a little weird. And so I realized that I either had to find some kind of an application process or I needed to write some happy songs. But one is acceptable. And this came about because I was dating somebody going into the pandemic, and we'd known each other since we were kids. And he really, really is a nice guy, but when you have all that time to think, I was thinking that he probably was not the one. And so, like a genius, I broke up with this guy during the pandemic, not thinking about how in the world I would possibly meet anybody new during a pandemic. And so for a brief moment I thought to myself, well, he really is a nice guy. We could probably make this work. And I thought about it a little bit more and I wrote this song instead. Poor guy. Spend my days wondering how I went astray, waiting for you to come back and love me someday. Well, I know you don't wanna be with me. Yet I'm still holding on to an unhappy dream. Why do I try anymore? Why do I keep wanting more? Why do I wait by the door you won't walk in? Why am I starting this over again? I wish I would have just walked on by, and then I'd be doing fine, not dying inside. Now I'm here wishing that I was there, and even though you don't care, my heart's in despair. Why do I try anymore? Why do I keep wanting more? Why do I wait by the door you won't walk So funny to me about these sad songs is that people like them, but my father in particular loves these sad, heartbroken songs. And I finally figured out it's because he never liked any of the guys that they were written about. But he's got a point because I've made some pretty poor life choices in my dating career. And that's just the truth. It's kind of the ongoing joke at home. And I finally, don't worry, I finally found somebody that is very nice and very kind and is a good choice. But over the years, everybody kind of teased me because they thought I would never settle down because I always just picked terrible men. And I don't know why, because my dad is a great guy, my mom picked a great man to raise us, and my brothers are great young men. And I surround myself with good people, but when it comes to dating, I tend to write a lot of sad songs, you know what I mean? And so I was thinking about this cumulatively, and I thought, well, what if I wrote a song about that? Now that I finally found a good one, I can talk about all the bad ones and accept that my parents were right, that I didn't always make good choices. This is brand new, and I don't want you to feel sorry for me. As I said, things are going well for me now, but it's kind of a song about making bad dating choices, so if you like it, please let me know, and then I promise we'll move on to happier things. But I'd also like to point out that I did not discriminate, and I dated any kind of guy you could possibly come across, you know? Dated a guy with a sleeve that my mother was really not impressed with. Dated a guy, I guess a Catholic, a Mormon, a guy from New Mexico, a guy from California, Texas. That was the worst decision. Point being is I'm an equal opportunity type person. Well, I make poor life choices. My history will show. From the old broke cowboy to the Mormon down the road, I always try again, no matter how it hurts. Well, I make poor life choices and I never seem to learn. Was the one who said he loved me and he'd never leave. At least he'd say I'm sorry every time he'd cheat, and walk right out the door acting single and free, and then come crawling back in his dirt-covered jeans. I make poor life choices. History will show. From the old broke cowboy to the Mormon down the road, I always try again. I never seem to learn. There was the one who was a diehard at everything he'd do, except for loving me, too many women to choose. The day he said goodbye, the only tears I cried were for a sweet healer dog I had to leave behind. I make poor life choices. History will show. From the old broke cowboy to the Mormon down the road, I always try again, no matter how it hurts. I make poor life choices and I never seem to learn. It is okay to laugh. Well, I try again, someday I'll get it right. Find myself a man to make me his bride. Wake up in the morning with a smile and say, finally got a good one, as he's walking away. I make poor life choices. History will show. From the old broke cowboy to the Mormon down the road, I always try again, no matter how it hurts. I make poor life choices and I never seem to learn. I make poor life choices. That's enough of that. I'm telling you, sometimes I just don't know where these songs come from, and then you're like, I am never playing that in public, and here we are. This is a little more on the sensitive side. I'm not going to trick you again, but growing up, my grandmother used to come to every show possible when we were kids. If it was within an hour drive, she was there. And I grew up without grandfathers. They both passed away before my brothers and I were born. And so I think I was looking to fill that void. And so every show I went to, especially when my grandma was there, I would befriend every little old man I possibly could, because it was my goal to find her next love in life. But it turns out she was more interested in my boyfriends than she was, gentlemen of her age. Scarred a couple young men. Love her to pieces. But because of that, I got to meet some really, really incredible people, and I think that's something that my generation forgets sometimes, is that the people that have lived before us and lived longer and lived through the tough times are the people you need to go to for advice. Because it turns out we don't know it all. I know I'm of that generation that sure believes that, but I don't believe that. And so I'd befriend all these people just to get their stories, and one distinct conversation that came as inspiration for this song was that if you ever get too far away from home, you can always follow your tracks back. And it's true in the wilderness, and it's true in life, that if you get too far from home, just follow your tracks.
Well, the old timers say time gets away. It happens before your eyes. The old timers know there's only one way to go, and the world starts to pass you by. If you're lost where you are, with no guiding star and no one to lead you in, there's mud on the path in case you need to go back. Well, I left some tracks. Well, the good days are gone. It's hard to move on in a world that makes no sense. Take the good with the bad and all that you have. Go on, cut down the fence. If you're lost where you are, with no guiding star and no one to lead you in, there's mud on the path in case you need to go back. Well, I left some tracks. And if you need me, just go where the mountains are steep and the water runs deep. I promise you'll find me free. If you're lost where you are, with no guiding star and no one to lead you in, there's mud on the path in case you need to go back. I left some tracks. There's mud on the path in case you need to go back. Well, I left some tracks.
do get asked an awful lot how I got started in this business. And since most of you are new, I'll tell this story again. But when I was 9 years old, I got to meet Michael Martin Murphey. And you knew who Clint Black was, so please tell me you know who Michael Martin Murphey is. It makes my story so much cooler. But I grew up listening to his Cowboy Songs album, and I just thought he was the coolest person. And I always wanted to meet him. And it happened at the National Western Stock Show. Every year, growing up, I would ask for tickets to go see an evening of dancing horses because Murph played the music behind the show. And it was just fantastic to see. And the one year they opened it up, it was for my 9th birthday. And they opened the alleyway where you could go down and you could see the horses and meet some of the riders. And so, of course, I was going down there so I could meet Michael Martin Murphey. And wouldn't you know that he came riding around the corner at a trot on Miss Wildfire. And our eyes locked. And he came right over to me and he reached his hand out in his fringy buckskin gloves and he shook my hand and he rode off into the arena. And I had met Michael Martin Murphey. I was so excited. And little did I know that I would really get to meet Michael Martin Murphey just a few months later. He opened the Singing Cowboy Ranch in Nathrop, Colorado, which is just 15 minutes from where I live. And wouldn't you know that he would get on a board that my mother was on, and somebody would actually introduce us. And she said, "You ought to hear this little kid sing, Murph." And I think he was a little bit intrigued, but he told me to learn a couple cowboy songs, and if I did, I could come out to the Cowboy Ranch and sing with him. And so I spent the next month practicing as much as one little person could practice. And then I convinced my parents that I was ready, the 4th of July, 2001. And they were so great because they basically prepared me for the worst, that Murph may not remember that he said this, but I really did not care because I was going to sing with Michael Martin Murphey. And so we got to the Cowboy Ranch, and I said I will be right back. And took off and got past security, got past all the things that are supposed to keep people like me out. And I walked right up next to Murph, and I tapped him on the shoulder, and I said, "Mr. Murphy, I am here to sing my cowboy songs." And he kind of turned around and looked at me a little bit funny, and he must have seen my parents waving off in the distance, and it started coming back to him. And so we did a quick rehearsal, and then really the last thing that I remember about this little adventure is that we were about to walk on stage, and he looked right at me, and he said, "Kid, this better be good." And I guess it wasn't too bad because he invited my family and I back out for the rest of the summer. And fast forward a couple of years, and we started going to open his shows at Westfest and all these different events, the Christmas show. And fast forward a couple more years, and I graduated from college, and I got the greatest gift, and that was to open the Cowboy Christmas Tour and be a rhythm guitar player. And then another few years went by, and Murph realized I wasn't going anywhere. And so he made me the lead guitar player in his band, and I still do that today. So, with that being said, I am a true believer that dreams do come true. Just sometimes they take a little longer to get there.
Well, she comes down from a yellow mountain on a dark flat land she rides. On a pony she named Wildfire. A whirlwind miger's side on a cold Nebraskan night. Well, they say she died one winter when there came a killing frost, and the pony she named Wildfire busted down in song So by the dark of the moon I planted them. But there came an early snow. I've been a hoot owl outside my window now for 6 nights in a row. Coming for me, I know, and on wildfire we're both gonna go.
Thank you so much. Well, I think I've got time for a couple more songs, and then we'll drive back over the pass and go home. But thank you so much for being here tonight. And the Ian Tyson song that I played earlier went over so well. I thought you might like to hear one more that you know. And this song is not usually sung by a woman. It's more of a guy song, but it's such a beautiful story that I just don't care. And it's such a great song. And I don't know if anybody's ever heard Tom Russell's version of this, but there's a lot of controversy about who wrote what. But the story I have is that Tom Russell and Ian Tyson wrote this together. But Tom Russell's version is so soulful and so dramatic, and I just kind of think that this kind of a song needs to be told like that. It's not a happy song.
Well, it's 3 eggs up on whiskey toast, home fries on the side. Wash it down with the truck stop coffee that burns up your insides. Was a Canyon, Colorado diner, little waitress I didn't love. Well, we sat in the back near the old stuffed bear in a worn-out Navajo rug. Well, old Jack, the boss, he closed at 6, and Miss Katie barred the door. She pulled down that Navajo rug and spread it on the floor, and I saw lightning in the sacred mountains, all the dance of the turtle doves, as I was lying next to Katie on that old Navajo rug. Katie, shade the red and blue. Katie, whatever became of the Navajo rug and you, Katie. Well, I saw old Jack about a year ago, said the place burned to the ground, and all he'd saved was an old bear tooth. Katie, she left town. Oh, but Katie, she got her souvenir too. Jack spat a tobacco plug. He said you should have seen her running through the smoke on that Navajo rug. Katie, shades of red and blue. Katie, whatever became of the Navajo rug and you, Katie. So now, every time I cross the sacred mountains, the lightning breaks above. Well, it always takes me back in time to my long lost Katie love. Oh, but everything keeps a moving, and everybody's on the go. Well, you don't find things that last anymore, like the double of an Navajo. Katie, shades of red and blue. Katie, whatever became of the Navajo rug and you? Katie, shades of red and blue. Katie, whatever became of the Navajo rug and you? Katie.
Well, thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for coming and being here. I know you had other options tonight. I understand there's a lot of activities in this beautiful valley, so thank you for sharing it with me. I will leave you with one of my very favorite songs, and it's come to mean a lot more to me in recent years. I wrote this over a series of years, actually. But for me, it started off as a really sad song, and then I realized the world didn't need any more sad songs. And so I put it in a little shoebox under my bed where I keep all my ideas. And I knew someday something big would happen and I'd be inspired to write it. And sure enough, back in 2020, I was very inspired to write music because it was a pretty incredible tool to bring people together. And so I pulled it out of the box and was able to finish it. And if anything that this life has taught me is that there are good days and there are bad days. And for me, I look at it as getting over the mountain, because some mountains are easy and you seem to climb pretty quickly and get where you want to go. And others are like the big 14ers that feel like they might be the end of you by the time you reach the summit. But the point is that life is still beautiful, and once you get to the top of the mountain you're climbing, things look pretty wonderful on the other side. So again, my name is Carin Mari, and thank you so much for being here. Please come say hello in the back. And one more big hand for the very kind folks here at Society Hall, because this is a fantastic venue and a fantastic staff, and they deserve a big thank you. And I don't like to brag, it's not really my thing, but this is the one song that I do like to brag about, because I've been writing songs since I was 12 years old, and I'm however many years old now. And my goal as a songwriter was to finally get this stamp of approval from Mr. Murphey himself. Because over the years, I've gotten, well, that's cute. And, well, that's, that's nice, and things like that. And so it's been my goal that one day I was going to write a song that he was like, that's it, and you did it. And he left me a voicemail after I finished this, and it said, that's it, kid, you did it.
When we get over the mountain, things will be fine. When we get over the mountain, there'll be plenty of time. When we get over the mountain, we won't be alone. When we get over the mountain, we'll finally be home. Our hands won't feel empty, our pockets will be rich, and we won't have to worry about what we can't fix. The nights won't be lonely, time won't get over the mountain. There'll be plenty of time when we get over the mountain. We won't be alone when we get over the mountain. We'll finally be home when we get over the mountain. Things will be fine when we get over the mountain. There'll be plenty of time when we get over the mountain. We won't be alone when we get over the mountain. We'll finally be home. Finally be
Perfect. Thank you all so much. Oh gosh. Well, I thought you'd never ask. We don't need a story for this other than over the years people have asked if I can sing all these guy songs, and I've always said, well, no. It's a little more difficult as a woman to sing male range songs, but I found a couple and they're classics.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. It burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. It burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. The taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet. I fell for you like a child. Oh, but the fire went wild. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. It burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames they went higher. It burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time, and keep the ends out for the ties that bind. Because you're mine, I walk the line. I find it very, very easy to be true. I find myself alone when each day is through. Yes, I'll admit that I'm full for you. Because you're mine, I walk the line. And sure as night is dark and day is light, I keep you on my mind both day and night. Happiness I know proves that it's right. Because you're mine, I walk the line. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. Keep the ends out for the ties that bind. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Because you're mine, I walk the line.
Thank you so much.